because you just think the whole thing just is
going to zero?
Going to zero and it's fake?
Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud.
Bitcoin's based on a distributed ledger.
Yeah,
it has all the characteristics of a store of value. It's immutable. It's scarce.
Totally untrue. It's
21 million.
Well, yeah, really. How do you know it's going to stop at 21 million?
Because
I've mentioned this to people
Satoshi.
Too. Everyone says that. Well, maybe it's going to get to 21 million, and Satoshi's picture is going to come up and laugh at you all and say, no.
There isn't a picture.
And by then, Satoshi will have taken out billions of dollars.
This is so fitting that Jamie Dimon would come out and say that, because that's how he thinks. That's how he operates. If he were the one, if JPMorgan Chase invented Bitcoin, that's what they would do. They would completely violate the trust of their customers in the most disgusting way. He would go ahead and defraud people. He would go, haha, it was all a scam. I'm selling everything, making all the money. This is how he thinks. How do I know that? Because that's what he's done. I'm going to show you all the various ways that JPMorgan Chase defrauds customers, has gotten in trouble for it, has admitted to it, and has paid billions of dollars over the years for it. Their involvement in the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, their involvement in the housing bubble, their involvement in defrauding governments, in defrauding their credit card users. It's absolutely despicable and hilarious that he would come out on CNBC and try to do this act of, well, it takes one to know one. I'm a fraudster, so they're fraudsters too. It's absolutely despicable. If you watch the interview in its entirety, it's clear that he knows nothing about Bitcoin. And although Jamie Dimon wants you to believe that everyone has the worst intentions and everyone's just trying to defraud everyone, guess what, Jamie? That's not how the world works. So let's do ourselves a favor. Let's watch the next couple of minutes of footage where I'm going to cover some of the biggest scams, scandals, and frauds that Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan was a part of. And then you tell me, should we listen to Jamie Dimon's opinion on Bitcoin? 2011, JP Morgan to pay $153.6 million to settle SEC charges of misleading investors in collateralized debt obligations tied to U.S. housing market. 2013, JPMorgan Chase agrees to pay $389 million for credit card violations. So how were they perpetrating fraud on their customers? Well, they were illegally charging credit card customers for identity theft protection and other add-on services they didn't receive or authorize. 2013, JP Morgan paying $5.1 billion to Fannie Freddie over mortgages. JP Morgan turned a blind eye to Bernie Madoff perpetrating his fraud, and as you can see and as you can research, they had a lot to do with the housing bubble. They took advantage of the whole mortgage situation. They've defrauded a lot of people over the years. Take a look here. JP Morgan agrees $13 billion settlement with US over bad mortgages. And this was to settle charges that the bank overstated the quality of mortgages it was selling to investors in the run-up to the financial crisis. This was the whole reason why the inflation in the housing bubble occurred. This was at the heart of it. Lenders making bad mortgages and selling them to investors who thought they were relatively safe. When the loans started turning bad, investors lost faith in the banking system and a housing crisis turned into a financial crisis. And who is to blame? The same guy that is now claiming Bitcoin is a fraud. 2014, JP Morgan Chase to pay $1.7 billion in largest bank forfeiture in history with regards to settlements in the criminal Madoff charges. JP Morgan Chase was home to Madoff's bank account at the center of the fraud. They helped perpetrate the biggest Ponzi scheme, the greatest criminal act on Wall Street, and they settled the charges and paid $1.7 billion in the largest bank forfeiture in history up to 2014. 2016, JP Morgan agreed to pay US authorities $264 million to resolve allegations it hired the relatives of Chinese officials in order to win banking deals. This sounds a lot like straight up bribery. This is insane. 2016, JP Morgan fined for hiring kids of China's elite to win business, and they called this the Son and Daughters program. How disgusting and despicable is Jamie Dimon's JP Morgan Chase? Take a look at this. 2020, JP Morgan Securities admits to manipulative trading in US Treasuries. The SEC announced charges against JP Morgan Chase for fraudulently engaging in manipulative trading of US Treasury securities. JP Morgan Securities admitted the findings in the SEC order and agreed to pay disgorgement of $10 million and a civil penalty of $25 million to settle the action. September of 2020, JPMorgan Chase and Company agrees to pay $920 million in connection with schemes to defraud precious metals and U.S. Treasury markets. They entered into a resolution with the Department of Justice to resolve criminal charges related to two distinct schemes to defraud. The first involving tens of thousands of episodes of unlawful trading in the markets for precious metals futures contracts, and the second involving thousands of episodes of unlawful trading in the markets for U.S. Treasury futures contracts and the secondary cash market for U.S. Treasury notes and bonds. A lot of fraud. And lastly, and again, if you research yourself, you can go down a deep rabbit hole. Every single year, it seems, they're getting fined for fraud over and over and over again. Here in 2021, JP Morgan admits to widespread record-keeping failures and agrees to pay $125 million penalty to resolve SEC charges. JP Morgan Securities LLC admitted the fact set forth in the SEC's order and acknowledged that its conduct violated the federal securities laws and agreed to pay a $125 million penalty and implement robust improvements to its compliance policies and procedures to settle the matter. It is clear that Jamie Dimon is going to continue to perpetrate fraud on his customers, on people that use his credit cards. And the SEC is probably okay with that because they get to collect millions and millions of dollars in penalty fees. And it's just this feeder system to make everybody happy. The lawyers make money, the SEC makes money. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, can keep his job and be the corrupt dictator of one of the largest banks in America. Absolutely disgusting. And this is the guy that is claiming Bitcoin is fraud?
How aggravating is it that the CEO of one of the most corrupt banks in the world is coming out and saying that Bitcoin's a fraud, that Satoshi is just going to go ha when all the Bitcoins are mined, and that's not going to happen for like another 100 years. So it's just, the whole thing just smells disgusting, like elitist thinking, like just a corrupt crook at the top of the corporate world trying to go ahead and take a giant dump on this beautiful invention, this beautiful global currency that so many people around the world are able to use, decentralized, deregulated, and he is so greedy and so angry because he can't make money off of Bitcoin. There are no big institutions or banks that control Bitcoin, and he doesn't like it. He can't just line the pockets of Satoshi Nakamoto and do whatever he wants. We are all Satoshi Nakamoto. I appreciate you guys for watching this video in its entirety. Please mention in the comments your thoughts. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you all in the next video.